Welcome to a new video that will change the way you see relationships forever. If you've ever asked yourself, why me? Why does this always happen to me? Why do I choose wrong? This video will change your perspective forever. Because the truth is that falling into toxic relationships is not a coincidence. It's not bad luck. And it's definitely not because you're weak or don't learn. It's neuroscience, it's psychology, it's biology. And there are 10 scientific reasons, proven by universities around the world, that explain exactly why people fall into destructive relationships. This video is going to be intense. It's going to be uncomfortable, because you'll probably see yourself reflected in several of these reasons. But here's the good news. When you understand why something happens, you can start to change it. So if you're ready to understand the truth behind your love patterns, stay until the end. And subscribe right now, because what you're about to discover in the next few minutes will completely change the way you see relationships. Hit the bell, because this is just the first step in a series that will transform your love life. We're going to go deep into the science behind toxic relationships, and I warn you, after this video, you won't be able to use the excuse, "I didn't know," because you will know. This is Conscious Love. Section 2. The 10 reasons. I'm going to cut straight to the chase. These are the 10 scientifically proven reasons why people fall into toxic relationships, and each one is backed by studies from real universities. Grab a pen and paper, because this is pure gold. Reason number 1. Insecure attachment from childhood. Let's start with the foundation. Attachment theory. John Bowlby, a British psychiatrist, developed this theory in the 1950s, and decades of research since then have confirmed that the way you were cared for as a child determines how you relate as an adult. Studies from Columbia University, Texas A&M, and Liberty University all confirm the same thing. People with insecure attachment in childhood are much more likely to end up in toxic relationships as adults. There are 3 types of insecure attachment. Anxious attachment. Your caregivers were inconsistent. Sometimes they gave you love. Sometimes they ignored you. Result. As an adult, you live with fear of abandonment. You need constant validation. You cling to relationships even if they're destructive because something is better than nothing. Avoidant attachment. Your caregivers were cold, distant, or emotionally absent. Result. As an adult, you're afraid of intimacy, you have trouble trusting, you sabotage relationships when they get serious. Disorganized attachment. The most severe. Your caregivers scared you and were your source of comfort at the same time. Abuse, alcoholism, violence. Result. As an adult, you don't know whether to approach or flee in relationships. You end up in chaotic relationships that replicate that same pattern. Now, why does this make you fall into toxic relationships? Because you seek what's familiar, not what's healthy. Your brain seeks to replicate what it knows, even if it hurts you. It's unconscious. It's automatic. If you grew up with a controlling parent, you'll feel attracted to controlling partners because it feels like love to your brain. But here's the good news that a study from the University of Minnesota found. Attachment can change. You're not doomed, but it requires conscious work. Reason number 2. Unresolved emotional trauma. Related to attachment, but more specific. A study from Cambridge University found that emotional abuse in childhood interferes with your ability to regulate emotions as an adult. If you suffered constant verbal abuse, emotional invalidation, emotional neglect, or witnessed domestic violence, Your brain developed a hyperactive stress response system. You live in survival mode. And when you meet someone who treats you badly, your brain does not detect it as danger because it feels normal. While someone who treats you well feels weird, boring, or without chemistry, that's not that you like toxic people. It's that your traumatized brain confuses toxicity with familiarity. Reason number 3, learned codependency. Here comes a study that left me frozen. The National Autonomous University of Mexico, UNAM, did research with 615 university students. Result: 14 to 16% showed signs of codependency, 1 in 6 young people. And another study from the Pontifical Catholic University of Ecuador found that people with codependency have less psychological well-being direct relationship. What is codependency? It's when your sense of identity and happiness depends completely on another person. You live to make them happy, even though you're miserable. And here's what's interesting. Codependency is learned. If you grew up in a family where you had to emotionally care for your parents, where your value depended on pleasing others, where ignoring your needs was being good, where sacrificing yourself was love, you learned that you are what you do for others. So as an adult, you seek relationships where you can rescue someone, because that's where you feel valuable. But manipulators detect this from miles away, and they use you. Reason number 4, cognitive distortions about love. A fascinating study by researchers in Colombia identified 2 specific cognitive distortions in people with emotional dependency. Distortion 1, the shoulds of romantic love. I must sacrifice myself for love. If they love me, they should be able to read my mind. True love can do anything. I must always be available. Distortion 2, the fallacy of control. If I control them, they won't leave me. If I give in to everything, they'll love me. I can change my partner with enough love. These beliefs are not love. They're mental traps, and they come from movies, songs, novels that romanticize toxic behaviors. If they're jealous, it's because they love me. No, it's insecurity. Love forgives everything. No, love has limits. I must fight for this relationship. No, if you're fighting alone. Reason number 5, cultural romantic love myths. The University of Barcelona and the Open University of Catalonia did research on this. They found that romantic love myths in popular culture normalize abusive behaviors. Myth 1, the soulmate. You're my other half. I'm nothing without you. This is not love. It's emotional dependency. Myth 2, love can do anything. If we love each other, we'll overcome anything. No, love without respect, without communication, without compatibility does not work. Myth 3, jealousy is proof of love. They're jealous because they love me so much. No, jealousy is insecurity and control. Period. Myth 4, true love is forever. If we break up, it wasn't true love. No, sometimes the most mature love is the one that lets you go. These myths are everywhere, in the movies you watch, in the songs you listen to. And when your idea of love comes from these myths, you can't differentiate love from toxicity. If these first 5 patterns are already opening your eyes, wait, because what's coming now is even more revealing. If you're not subscribed, do it now, because the next 5 reasons will explain exactly how manipulators use these patterns against you. And that changes everything. Reason number 6, emotional grooming, premeditated manipulation. This is the most recent and most impactful study, Cambridge University, 2025, just a few months ago. The researchers found something that challenges everything we thought about codependency. Manipulators create emotional dependency before the abuse begins. It's strategic, it's calculated, it's grooming. The 4 phases. Phase 1, idealization. They flood you with attention. I've never met anyone like you. Intense, fast connection, soulmate. They share traumas to create a bond. Phase 2, create dependency. Cycles of affection and withdrawal. They give you love, then they take it away. Your brain becomes addicted to the high of reconciliation, like a rat in a lab pressing a button for dopamine. Phase 3, isolate. They subtly distance you from friends and family. Nobody understands you like I do. Your family is toxic, pure projection. Phase 4, start abuse. Now that you're hooked, the abuse begins. But you already have the traumatic bond created. That's why it's so hard to leave. It's not that you're weak. It's that you were programmed to stay. Reason number 7, false altruism. This study blew my mind. University of Utah, 1,848 people studied. Question: why do people stay in unhappy relationships? Expected answer: out of fear, for money, out of habit. Real answer: for the other person. People stay in toxic relationships because they feel their partner depends too much on them. If I leave, I'll destroy them. What will they do without me? They need me. This is not love. It's false altruism. And manipulators know this. That's why they constantly remind you how much they need you, because your empathetic nature won't let you leave. Reason number 8, gender roles and socialization. Study from the Open University of Catalonia in Spain. Women take longer to identify and leave toxic relationships than men. Why? Because of how they were socialized. Be understanding. Give them another chance. Men are like that. You can change them with love. A woman endures. Control and jealousy in men are seen by many women as proof of love because of that conditioning. While men, because of their socialization, identify faster when someone is controlling them and set boundaries. Neither is better or worse. They're learned patterns that both genders need to unlearn. Reason number 9, neurological addiction to the roller coaster. Here comes the neuroscience. The National Institutes of Health, NIH, in the United States, have investigated how the brain responds to toxic relationships. The cycle of fights and reconciliations releases cortisol, which is stress, followed by dopamine when they reconcile. It's the same pattern as drug addiction. Your brain becomes addicted to the cycle. That's why a stable and healthy relationship can feel boring if your brain is used to drama. It's not that you like drama, it's that your brain is addicted to the chemical roller coaster. Reason number 10, existential fear of loneliness. And finally, the simplest but most powerful, fear of being alone. Studies show that many people prefer a bad relationship to having no relationship at all. Because they never learned to be alone, their identity is tied to being someone's partner. They're afraid of social judgment, they believe it's their last chance, or they prefer the certainty of known pain to the uncertainty of starting over. But here's the truth. Being alone is 1,000 times better than being in a relationship that destroys you. And you won't find the right person if you keep holding on to the wrong one out of fear. Section 3. Integration and Hope. Okay, that was heavy. I know. You probably saw yourself reflected in 3, 4, or even all 10 reasons. And that's okay. The first step to change is to understand. Now you know that it's not your fault that these patterns exist. They're the result of how you were raised, what you learned about love, how your brain works, the culture you grew up in, and yes, also manipulators who took advantage of all that. It's not your fault. But here's the important part. Now it is your responsibility to do something about it, because you can no longer say you didn't know. The good news is that everything I just showed you can be changed. Insecure attachment can become secure with therapy and conscious work. Cognitive distortions can be replaced with critical thinking. Codependency patterns can be broken. Drama addiction can be cured. Everything is possible, but only if you decide to act. And this is where you make a decision. Because this video is just the beginning. In the next videos, we're going to see exactly how to break these patterns, how to identify if you're in a toxic relationship now, the red flags you should never ignore, how to leave safely, how to heal afterwards, and how to build healthy relationships from awareness. But you'll only be able to transform your life if you commit to the complete process. So subscribe now. Hit the bell, because each video is one more step towards your emotional liberation, and you deserve it. Section 4. Powerful Closing. Now let me ask you something important. How many of these 10 reasons did you see yourself reflected in? Leave it in the comments. Just put a number from 1 to 10. Don't be afraid to be honest, because when you share, you'll see that you're not alone. You'll see hundreds of comments from people who are going through the same thing, and that in itself is already healing. Now you have 2 responsibilities. First, subscribe and hit the bell if you haven't already. Don't miss a single video in this series, because what's coming will change your life forever. Second, share this video with someone who needs it. With that friend who always falls into the same relationships. With that sister who doesn't understand why this happens to her. With that person who needs to understand that they're not alone and that it's not their fault. A single click from you can change a life. Literally. Remember, music is medicine for the soul, but knowledge is medicine for the mind. And a conscious mind chooses better. See you in the next video. And this time, you'll be ready for what's coming. I'll be waiting for you on the other side.